Is that okay? Ooh, live stream.
Yeah, that's all good.
Totally fine. Thank you.
Yeah, live stream starting
All
now.
right.
Just-
I'm guessing I can start with.
If anything happens or we notice anything on the Facebook or something, we'll just text you in the comments, like at the bottom.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. How are you all doing? My name is Macharia. I will be taking you through today's session on how to successfully judge at majors. Two disclaimers before I start. The first is, this is not your ordinary judge, feedback or your judge training, video about where I tell you about all the things you should do as a judge with regards to technical aspects of your judging, like judging diagonal, judging comparisons, weighing, oral adjudication. I think most of those things are already covered in a lot of the training programs that are online. So you can just log on to the Korea training program and you can be able to check both what Korea did last year and what Belgrade did this year on improving some of those technical aspects of your judging. I think there are a lot of brilliant trainers there that covered a lot of that. So that's the first disclaimer. Two, most of my experience with judging majors has been online. So some of the things I'll be mentioning are probably online specific and might not apply in real tournaments. So I think this is the other disclaimer that I should put out. And yeah, other than that, I am looking towards a very fun and informative session. So what am I going to be doing today? I'm going to be doing a couple of things. The first is I'm going to talk to you about generally just what judging in majors looks like. Two, some of the things you can do just to improve your experience at majors. So it's more about soft things that you can be able to do to make sure you survive the 9 rounds plus, 5, 6 out rounds that are there. And just some of the ways you can ensure you have a brilliant experience while still judging at majors. And then the other things is that we're going to talk a bit about some soft tips that will improve both the quality of your judging and the experience that you have, making sure that you check all the boxes necessary. So let's start with a few of the things that you can be able to do to improve your performance and your judging experience at majors. So what are some of the things you need to do? First, let's look at what you need to do before any round, because before you even get into a round and judge, you definitely have a lot of pre-round procedures that you need to do in order for you to be a successful judge. One of the things I highly advise you to do is always go through the briefings. I know it sounds obvious, but it is extremely important that you understand what the CAP is looking at, especially in terms of what judging principles are guiding the tournament. You want to read the tech guide so that you don't have issues with tech in the round and you don't know what exactly to do, so things, all those things, so that you can be able to get a template for what you're going to do. You are well aware of what those things are. What I've done all do advise that whenever you're judging that, many judges coming from all over the world, which have experience with platforms like this, very, very, very fun. Way the private URLs are sent using Taptastic, how you access your Zoom calls using Taptastic. It is extremely, extremely important that you acclimatize yourself with the technology that is around you, especially for judges who are not very experienced with online judging, which WUDC tends to have. You need to just acclimatize with the tech. How do you do that? Attend round 0, read the briefings, make sure you have clear understanding of what is expected of you technologically. So that's the first pre-round procedure you want to be doing, just to give yourself a seamless experience. Secondly, you want to make sure that you have all the tools you need in order to judge. And by those tools, I mean whether you use different colors like necessary tools, whether you're typing, you have a template that you use and it's well prepared. Whatever you use to just take notes or whatever basics you need, just make sure that you have them. And I think that's you don't want to be in round 5, then you realize, oh, I ran out of paper, or in the middle of between rounds, round like 3 and 4 today, and then you realize, oh, my pen no longer has any ink. So you want to make sure that whatever it is you default to as a tracking mechanism as a judge, you have enough of that, especially for those of you who use paper, pens, all those things. Make sure you have all those things prior to the tournament. How else can you improve your pre-round procedures? Before any round does start, I think you want to, I already explained, make sure that whatever structures you use on note-taking and all those things, probably have them ready before the round. So one of the things is, there's a way I draw lines on my papers. So have like a huge set of papers you've already prepared, so that you don't find yourself like the round starting and you still haven't drawn all your lines and you're already panicking before a round. All I'm saying is that make sure first speaker is speaking, you're at a comfortable place, you're not panicking. I haven't done X, I haven't done Y, X could happen, Y could happen. This is something that I think will greatly improve your experience. So have like a pre-round checklist. How am I going to be running through this round? Whether you're a GR, whether you're a trainee, whether you're a panelist, these are extremely important things. Just have a pre-round checklist, acclimatize the tech, prepare your notes, whatever it is you need to do to make sure that by the time the round of like 10 minutes, I don't know, pre-round procedures, please make sure you have them on check. The next thing you do is during the round, how do you ensure that you have a seamless experience during the round? So one of the things that would be great for you is to have a backup in terms of your Wi-Fi device or whatever it is. Please always make sure that it's not always accessible, but I think for some of you, you can be able to, if you're using your laptop and you're using Wi-Fi, have like a mobile hotspot on check. Make sure you have data on your phone, because things happen. Like I know yesterday I was talking to some people and they were like, yeah, my network, we call it here, it's twerked. So what happens is that certain things could happen with your Wi-Fi. You might need to switch to a backup, or your laptop might crash. You might need to switch to your phone. Have alternatives always available, because especially at majors, there are a lot of rounds and sometimes they take very, very long. So you might be online for a very long time. For those of you who are doing this for the first time, you might want to always make sure, both for judges and speakers, if you're watching, but preferably judges, you keep backups available just in case of anything happening. You don't want to be caught out by the disconnection policy and stuff like that. How else do you make sure that you are able to succeed? Make sure that the environment in which you're judging is extremely conducive. So you don't want to be in a noisy area. You don't want to be in an area where you have a lot of distractions. Please make sure you're in a place where you can be able to listen effectively. You also want to have good audio devices. So if your laptop has good audio, well and good. If you need headphones like I am, please make sure you get some before Worlds or during Worlds headphones or earphones that are that are good. You can hear the sound that is clear and crisp, and you're not struggling to hear everyone in the round, because that affects your performance as a judge. If you're struggling to hear people, if your environment is unconducive, you might not be able to track properly. You might not be able to hear things properly. You might not be able to give feedback and adjudication well. So I think this is something that is during the round. These are during the round procedures of things you can be able to do to just improve the quality of your experience during rounds. Because if you find yourself in places where, for example, your network drops, you see, those are the things. What I'm trying to explain is you want to reduce as much tension as possible during the round. So you don't want Wi-Fi to, go and you have no backup. And then what happens? You begin to panic. You don't want to be in a situation where you can't hear people in the round because of everything around you or your audio device. What do? You begin to panic. Those are the things that begin to affect your performance, because when you're panicking, I don't know, you can't be able to do too many things at once, or like me probably. And there's a lot that you could be able to reduce in terms of externalities that affect your performance. So these are some of the things you can be able to do during a round, just to make sure that your performance is not affected by external factors and you put yourself in the best possible position to judge. What else can you then do during the round? During the round, to make sure that you have the best experience. Now, this, I'm not going to go too much into this, but this is something that tends to happen a lot at majors because of the size of these tournaments. You tend to have a great diversity of participants. So you tend to have participants from all over the world with different backgrounds. They debate differently. They have different ways they're speaking. They have some speak too fast, some speak too slow. Some, I don't want to mention names, but we all know these people. But my point is, you want to be able to do your best to acclimatize to the different situations, probably as early as possible. So you want to try your best to be improving on things like tracking. Don't be dismissive of what people are saying, because you might find that people debate differently around the world. So just always trying to be as accommodating as possible. Do not allow, especially your preconceived biases of what debating should look like, to determine how you're going to run that round. Because what tends to happen, and I notice this in panel discussions, is especially when people are doing things a bit differently, some judges are unable to understand what's going on, or they try and put themselves in those positions of those speakers. What were they trying to say? Try your best to understand what's trying to going on. What is this speaker trying to say? How this is maybe different from what I'm used to in terms of the strategy, maybe of whipping. I've never heard this before, but it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that you probably have to adjust slightly in terms of what your preferences are when it comes to whip speeches. They might use a different format from what you're used to. Maybe you're used to teams going team by team, and then a team comes up of nowhere and they're doing those thematic clashes. All I'm saying is that they're not wrong. There are different ways of doing things. Different people from around the world do things very differently. Do not assume that there's one good way of doing things. The best thing you can do at Worlds is just be as flexible and as understanding as you can to different people from different backgrounds, especially as a judge. Just don't let it throw you off. And I think the summary of what I'm saying here is check yourself. Just check yourself to make sure that you're not allowing preconceived biases about how things happen in your circuit to determine how you're going to judge this round. So please check yourself during rounds, especially when you meet teams from different backgrounds who are doing things differently, all right? The standards are the same, but please, there are different methods of getting, or as they say, sorry, that's not the best example. Anyway, there are different ways of getting towards the same goal. Anyway, post-round procedures. Now, I've talked to you about what to do before a round. I've talked to you about what to do during a round. Now I'm going to talk to you about what to do after a round. So after the round, I think one of the most important things as judges is please, chill a bit. Panel discussions sometimes tend to be very, very difficult because sometimes judges are just hell-bent on the position that they took, and they think that that's the only right position, and therefore nobody else or no other position could be right. I mean, words will shock you. Ego in Igbo or in Nigerian, they say ego shock you. It's going to shock you because people have different views about how debates went. Don't let that, or don't turn that into something that is a source of strife between people. So especially during panel discussions, be prepared for different thoughts, be prepared for different calls. I'm sure some of you by now have already experienced it in your panel discussions in round 1 and 2. Some people have rolled you, some people have, disagreed with you on some of these things. I think it's extremely important for you to just understand that there is no one position. So do not be those panelists or those chairs or those trainees who are difficult in discussions because they believe that their position is always right. Please try your best to understand different perspectives. Try your best to engage, and this is for chairs, with different panelists with as much grace as you can, because you must, I know you might be the better judge, or you think you are the better judge, or you think you're the one who's always right, or your call is definitely the obviously right one. Please don't be with some of those people. Take everything as it is, and if different people have different perspectives, please accept them with grace. Allow them time to speak. Allow these opinions to come about in the discussion. Don't be those people who are trying to prove their point to everyone for 10 minutes without allowing people to speak. I don't think that's the way, right? Like, be chilled, be graceful, have, I don't want to call it swagger or class, but just be as inclusive as you can. If you find yourself in a position where you don't agree with your panelists, that's fine. It doesn't mean that your position is always right. it just follow the procedures that you've been given in the judge briefing about what happens in those situations. The judge manual has a lot of material on what happens when you have different calls, how you agree, how you disagree, what happens, when to vote, when not to vote, when, who is going to give OA, all those things. All I'm saying is that ego shocking. So be prepared for it, and don't let these things cause personal differences in terms of, oh, this judge disagreed with me, they're a bad judge. No. And especially those people who, this judge that disagreed with me, bad feedback, tank them. That's the solution. They were bad judge, inaccurate call. Just have wisdom and grace when dealing with such situations. And I do think that it will greatly improve your experience at World if you don't take things personally. Fine, we disagreed. Different perspectives, but yeah, we are judges. That's why we are 3. That's why we are 5. And that's exactly what I do. I want to also make a specific note about grace to trainees. This is an extremely important thing. We tend to leave them out. We tend to probably we discourage them a lot. We don't give them time to speak. I don't know. This tends to be a huge practice I hear and see, and we see it all the time. I think if you want to have a good experience, it's important for you to be as inclusive to everyone, including maybe judges who have different perspectives, different skill levels, different accents, different ways of explaining their call to you in deliberation. Just like I said, be understanding of different speakers and the different ways they do things during the debate. Even after the debate, have the same grace to different panelists who maybe explain their calls in a different manner. Maybe you expect clear, concise, sharp, straight to the point way. That's when I ask you for a description, that's what I want from you. Well, some people might not be trained on how to do that. They might not understand that's how you do it. Some people maybe start by summarizing what every team said and then explain why they thought one team beat another. Maybe you feel like that's time wasting. Instead of thanking them, why don't just teach them while the round is going on? Okay, so how I would like this to happen is we already know what team said. So when you're explaining a comparison, just go straight to the reasons why you believe one team beat another. Be gracious, but don't be those people who, oh no, this judge talks too much. They wanted to summarize the whole debate, yet we already knew what happened. Well, it might not be something wrong with them. They might just not know what to do. So sometimes if you're a chair, this one is specifically for you, explain what your expectations are before the deliberation so that they can try their best to adjust to those, instead of keeping quiet and then they piss you off and then you thank them and then it just becomes a bad experience for everyone, or you keep interrupting them all the time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Just be chill there, be peaceful, and let grace abound to everyone during the deliberations. That's how you maintain peace. That's how you maintain, what is it called? Good vibes. That's how you maintain good relationships with everyone, even after agreeing or disagreeing after a call. And then, I don't know, this one is up to you, but be friendly to people during deliberations. I tend to do that. I don't know whether it works. I don't know, to be honest. Just be nice. Like, don't be those guys who is just mean to everyone. Be peaceful, be nice to everyone. Smile. I don't know, sometimes a smile goes a long way. Sometimes just telling someone good job goes a long way. And telling someone I enjoyed the deliberation at the end just does a long thing for people. Just be encouraging. I don't know. Let's all have grace. Post-round procedures, those are, I think, what would really improve for your deliberations. I'm not here again to tell you about how to have panel discussions at a technical level. As I said, I want to touch on some of the soft things that happen during the round. Now that I've covered the round procedures, right? Here are a few other tips then that I think could improve your experience at majors. So now these are like mental health tips or soft tips, or I don't know what type of tips we can call them, but let's just call them tips. A couple of things that I've used that work for me, but could also work for you. How do you, and different people do different things. So don't take my word as, the gospel. This is just some things that you can do to improve yourself. So how do you improve your overall experience at such tournaments? One, how do you improve these situations? One, disconnect once in a while if you can. And I think this is something that people don't tend to do. So you're overly invested in the tournament. During or between rounds, you're just seated next to your Discord waiting for the Taptastic to tell you to move. Before the round, you are skimming through everybody's standings, trying to figure out, how are people performing. Before, I think just have breaks, take breaks. So when the round is over, unfortunately for people like us who also do things like equity, we don't have such luxury. But if you have the luxury, like if you're in a physical place with your team, with your friends, I don't know if your union is having like the same, I don't know, you're using the same place for your debate. Chill, like go hang out with people, go disconnect, I don't know, drink water, have fun, watch a series. I don't know, I recommend Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, something that will make you laugh. Go watch Friends. I don't know what you do, but disconnect during rounds. It will improve the peace of mind you have and just your mental health in general when you're not overly invested at the tournament. It might work for a few rounds, but you'll burn out by rounds. Tournaments are extremely long. We started on Monday or on Tuesday, and we're going to finish next week, like on Thursday. You can't afford to be totally invested from the beginning all the way to the end. There's so much that you need to do. Please, if you find times just to take breaks in between rounds, in between the tournament, when the tournament is over, don't talk WDC. Just go do something else with your life. It's just good for your mental health. It's good for your peace of mind. Do other things. That's how you're able to successfully judge. The unique thing about majors that is different from like a normal IB is that you have almost, 12, 13, 14 rounds. You cannot afford to be on overdrive from beginning to end. So please find ways to recharge, find ways to have breaks, have ways to just give yourself peace of mind. That way, I think it's something that will improve your experience overall when you're not overly invested. The second tip you can do, and this one is up to you. So find friends and chill with other judges. So there's like judge groups that are usually created around. Banter with people, make friends, because what's the point of doing worlds and you don't even make a new friend, or you don't have a conversations or see what other judges are talking about? Try interact with other judges, try join. Unfortunately, I don't think they have socials at this tournament, but we definitely need socials. I don't know if Ocom are hearing me or CAP. We definitely need socials. I remember there was one Doxbridge where they created some version of an online socials. Well, I don't know if we like Doxbridge, but the point is, it's actually a smart idea. Like, please, always find ways of interacting with different judges, chill with speakers. If you're around speakers, have ways of just making new friends. I mean, I don't know how you're going to do this, but I just think that interacting with other judges, making new friends, and being equitable in the process is something that is extremely important for you. And, the success here, because I think the tagline might have been a bit misleading. I'm not talking about judging majors successfully that you break to finals. Me, I'm just talking about how during the period of the tournament, for the judges or the rounds you're judging, how to give yourself the best experience. I think if you can have a fun tournament, then that is successful, probably even more successful than, judging the open finals and being the chair and all that. So that's what I'm really talking about in my speech. So mental health tips: 1, disconnect. 2, make sure you make a lot of friends. 3, please, and I think this was discussed somewhere, and I think it was Jess Musselin. I've never been able to say the second name. I hope I said it correctly. Who posted that don't stock the tab during rounds in terms of where am I allocated. And to be fair, like, I resonated so much with this. And I was even talking with a couple of judges yesterday, and they were giving me stories about how they're still worried about where they're judging, or they're still paneling, or they paneled with this person, therefore it means that, they are being observed. I don't know, they paneled with a CAP member, so what does that mean? Or I don't know what. Surely, friends, like, it is not going to help you to overly try and read into the tab. I think, especially at the beginning, and there's all these stories before majors about how to, how you're doing at majors by tracking which round you're judging, by tracking whether you're paneling or whether you're chairing. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's even good for your mental health. Just because you're chairing might not always mean that you're doing extremely well. Just because you're paneling does not always mean you're doing badly. Just because you're judging with a CA doesn't mean that you're under the eyes of, I don't know, Big Brother is watching. Just because they put this person to panel you doesn't mean that you're being observed. Like, guys, I think for now, the best way I can put it is those are likely conspiracy theories, and they're likely going to not improve your performance as a judge, because what that does is that it disorients how you perform. Because if you believe that you're being watched, then you try too much. Or if you now see, oh, maybe no one is in my room who is watching me, then you feel that you're not being watched, so you reduce your stand. I don't know, like, just do you. Like, I don't know how to explain this any better. Do you have the same standards, same quality over and over again, whether you're paneling, chairing, trainee, whatever it is? Do your best in every round. Don't overread the tab. Oh, I'm judging teams with 2 points. Well, this one is judging teams with 9 points. What does that mean? I mean, am I in the bin? What's going on? Friends, like, it's not helpful to you. It's not helpful to you. Might not even know. Maybe they used, I don't know. They maybe used a random allocator. They did it, I know, but you have no idea how you ended up where you did. So don't try and read too much into the situation. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the teams. It doesn't help the other judges in the room. Just don't overread the tab. Don't stalk it. In fact, this is the best mental health tip I can probably give you. Like, you just go to your private URL and go to your room. Don't go to the draws before and after rounds to try and stalk. Oh, this one was a trainee, now they were promoted. Me, I'm still a trainee. This one was a panelist and they are now chairing. I'm still a panelist. Does that mean that I'm not doing well? The other one is, I was chairing a 6-point room. I don't know, a proper bubble in round 5. Now I'm in a much lower room. Does that mean the teams in round 5 tanked me? And then now you have ill feelings towards all the teams that were in round 5. You're trying to figure out who submitted feedback, who didn't, who tanked you and who didn't. Guys, this is not helping you and it's not helping anyone. All I can say is your best bet is to avoid the, what is it called? Avoid the push or the incentive or just the allure of checking the draws and reading too much into them. Fine, you can check the draws, but don't read too much into them. For your own mental health, choose peace and all that. So this is something that will also improve your tournament experience. Just focus on yourself and doing your best. There's not much you can control beyond that. And I think this is something that could greatly improve. Last thing, because my battery is low and my laptop is about to die, is please use the feedback scale in a way that is equitable and fair. I wanted to talk more about this, but my laptop is about to die. And I think the best thing here is that I don't think many people know how to use the feedback scale. How to judge successfully is also about fair evaluation of judges. I know that CAP expects you to give good feedback, accurate feedback on panelists, on chairs, on trainees. Read the scale and use it well. One of the worst things you see in judging or when you're a CA is, this judge was extremely good, they did extremely well, good analysis, good weighing, good comparatives. 4. What the hell? Like, please, friends, I don't know how best to put it, but please read the scale, understand how to use it. It's not just about, and also don't be those people who give other people bad scores so that you do well. It doesn't help. Chairs don't give your trainees and panelists bad scores so that they don't, come and overtake you if that's what you think it's going to happen. Just be fair and equitable to every judge around you. Give them fair evaluation. Use the scale properly. Don't be those people who underscore just because you feel like giving people an advantage. Or don't, I just don't give anyone an 8. People with just very skewed ways. If they got a 10, they got a 10. If they got a 9, they got a 9. If they got a 6, they got a 6. If they were bad, they were bad. Like, don't be those people who uses the scale badly. I think that is extremely inequitable to other judges. And it's not just fair.